All right, we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the weekly live show. We are no longer going to be calling this the Side Hustle Pros live show because as of today, oh man, hold on. I've got way bad feedback on my side. I need to fix my, I need to switch over to my earpods real quick. Like I posted in the chat, we're having tech difficulties today for some reason. Let me try this again. Check 1, 2. Can you guys hear me still?
Yes.
Yep, I'm good.
All right. Nope. Crap. Hold on.
That's why I'm doing this with gaming headphones on.
Dude, I have gaming headphones. I left them at the house. Hold on.
Yeah, I've really good gaming headphones. I thought about using those.
Speaker.
Hi, Trista.
All right, apologize, guys. Give me 1 sec. Everything I say is looping back in my headphones, and it's just this weird cycle.
That's terrible.
All right, let me try this. Can you guys hear an echo if I don't have my headphones in?
You're fine on my end.
Don't mind.
Crap. Mine's doing it. Can you guys hear? All right, this may not be. Brandon, do you have headphones?
I don't have a regular headphones.
Yes.
Whoops.
Yes.
All right, hold up.
Yeah, you want me to go grab earbuds?
Yeah, go grab earbuds real quick.
Yeah, I think that might be on Brandon's side. It's looping back through my side.
Yeah, go grab earbuds real quick.
Yeah, I think that might be on Brandon's side. It's looping back through my side. All right, I'll put my headphones back in so you guys don't have to listen to it as much. All right, I have to put you guys on mute real quick because it's all looping back through my headphones.
Fine.
So weird. All right. So while we're waiting for that, I can't hear what Chris is going to say quite yet.
Oh, man, I can get real controversial here.
Oh, wait, now I can hear you.
Well, I wasn't talking before. I'm not going to... I muted Brandon.
Oh, okay, so it is Brandon's side. All right,
Yeah,
I was so confused. I'm like...
muted right now.
Because I'm pretty tech savvy. I'm like, if my audio is looping, I don't under...
I got to tell you, I bought... I'm not using it right now, but I bought a lavalier microphone set off Amazon for like $30 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And audio quality on them is astounding.
It's crazy for $30. Like we'll buy a nice gaming headset or something like that. But when you buy the nice, even like $20-$30 set, it's crazy how nice they are.
Yeah. Brandon, we lost Brandon.
Oh no. This is called live behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. We don't play professional level
sausage get made.
Pretty much.
Okay, Brandon, your video's dead.
Oh no.
I also accidentally muted Brandon. How do I unmute Brandon?
Let me see if I've got my dashboard side.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
There we go.
Okay. I plugged in the earbuds and my video went out for some reason.
That's so weird.
Oh my god.
All right, and then on the audience side, comment below, do we have any type of echo from any of us? We have audio. I guess that's the most important part.
Yeah, we don't need to see Brandon. Right here, me and Chaz, we're the money makers when it comes to, you got to stay humble, but I'm beautiful. We got him back.
Yeah, this is not the good camera, but it's working.
Yeah, it works good.
All right, good enough. Sorry, guys.
All right, let me go hang up. All right, I think we're good. So we have no echo. We
We're
all
good
have
now.
video. We can roll forward.
We're using Zoom next time.
Oh man, I found out recently, guys, that Zoom allows me to stream to YouTube because I do not like Google Hangouts for this reason. I never have this issue with Zoom. It's super clear. So officially, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the first episode of Side Hustle Network live show because we had a trademark issue we ran into, unfortunately, with Side Hustle Pros. So instead of getting into battling lawyers and such, I'm like, you know what? This is a good chance to rebrand and move forward with it. So this is episode number 1 of Side Hustle Pros. Side Hustle Network. That's going to take 2 years of muscle memory to undo, is just saying that. So anyways, I'm excited because you guys know we've talked a lot on the channel here over the last like 4 weeks, how I've personally been transitioning from retail arbitrage over to wholesale and a lot more online arbitrage. Sick and tired of driving around for 20 hours a week trying to pick stuff up for retail arbitrage. So I've been personally transitioning through that, which is why I'm excited to bring these guys into it because they're all about helping you transition from RAOA over to wholesale and private label world. And I know we've had Chris Anderson here on, I think at least once a year for the last like 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
So welcome back to the channel, Chris. You guys have seen him before. And then Brandon, this is his first time on here. So Brandon has a private label background, which is going to be a whole different realm bringing it to this channel as well. Because any guest speaker that we have on here, guys, everyone does things differently. So we can have 10 private label people come on here and there's probably 10 different methods, right? So I wanted to bring Brandon on because he's built an incredibly, not just successful, but pretty passive income for himself. He's automated a lot of stuff in his business. So I just thought it'd be great to bring these guys on here and they can kind of share the love as far as how they think people should be transitioning over and some of their methods with it. So if you guys have questions along the way, drop them in the chat below. We will get to those. And aside from that, Chris is so handsome from Superhero Sellers. Got a secret admirer over there. So you guys can go through just one by one, I guess, introduce yourselves, kind of your background, what you bring to the table, what you love to do, and more about yourselves.
Chris, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm Chris Anderson. You guys have probably seen me before. I do Q4 groups. I've sold bras on Amazon. I do a lot with that. I kind of started on Amazon. I did a Kickstarter and I was pretty successful with it. I had like $3,500 in profit left after I was done fulfilling the Kickstarter. And I was looking on how to invest it. And I wanted to launch my jewelry line that I make of wedding and engagement rings on Amazon. And I was like researching it. And I discovered that that was a horrible idea to sell wedding and engagement rings on Amazon. So I didn't. And I found actually not to throw credit to somebody else other than Charles, because I mean Charles is the OG, but ran into Ryan Grant's online selling experiment .com, and then Chris Green's book, and next thing you know, I was buying stuff at Target on clearance and sending it to Amazon and doing real well with that. I really enjoyed it. Doing some Amazon to Amazon flips, textbooks, kind of just a little bit of everything. And here we are. I do product photography. I have a prep center. I do private label and wholesale, still do retail arbitrage, just kind of a little bit of everything.
Yep. I started probably a couple years back. When I first got started, I was doing my first intro to it was book sales, used books, going to like library sales, just to kind of figure out the marketplace and the platform. And then I pretty quickly just dove right into very traditional private label, finding a niche, sourcing from China, modifying the product to add value, and bringing that over. And I've been doing that, and I think I quit my job in 2016. I was a casino management at that time, and just kind of quietly been building up my brand, and just kind of really focusing on making my business as passive as possible to allow me the most free time that I get, because that was really important to me and my family. We wanted to be able to, homeschool and just kind of have a different lifestyle than what most people do. So it's kind of quietly been making money the past few years in the background, and got together with Chris. We've become pretty good friends, hanging out and talking a lot. So him coming from such a strong retail arbitrage background, and me from more traditional private label, through us hanging out and talking a lot, it's been really interesting to kind of combine those efforts and our knowledge and seeing what we're coming up with.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's been interesting, Brandon, and Brandon will tell you the secret to his success of having a hands-off business model has been making me do his prep for him.
I love prep centers. Build that into your cost. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, last time, so we had a blizzard. What was that, last week? You came over my house so we could make that video for the course, and then you got what, 20? Was it like 20 or 25 boxes delivered to you? You had to borrow my cargo van, drive back to your house, drive it back to my house in one day. Yeah, because instead of sending everything to the prep center, they sent it to his house, and his wife did not appreciate having a house full of boxes.
Yeah, it was like 30 large-size boxes on my front porch. God. Completely unexpected. It was a mess. But Chris's van saved the day, and drove it out.
First time that's happened.
Chris has the best creeper van too. I always get slightly jealous when I see it. I'm like, I need to make that upgrade.
Yeah, man. You got to get one that's a little bit rusty.
I don't want that new shiny stuff. I need a legit looking one.
I just tinted the windows too. It now has limo tint, so it's got like 95% blackout tint. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Real shady.
Fantastic. So Chris, tell me more about, because I know obviously you went heavy retail.
Yeah, I did.
Are you personally I feel like 2019 inside of Facebook groups and just like FBA world, I feel like a lot of people are making that jump from so much RA into more of the OA wholesale model, even private label as well. So you want to talk more about your own personal business? Because I know you've been making some of that switch too.
And I mean, basically what happened, if you haven't followed in Rockstars, I pretty much got the deal of a lifetime on a warehouse. And I've actually partnered with my prep company with somebody, and as part of my having a prep company, I'm my own biggest client of my own prep company. So now my warehouse went from so I'm literally sitting in the room right now that used to be my warehouse. When I got started, I'm sitting in a room that's I don't know, 100 square feet or so. And then I went to about 1,000 square feet, which was nice. I outgrew that. And now I have 200,000 square feet, which, if you're not familiar with what 200,000 square feet is, 55,000 square feet is a football field with the end zones. So that's what we operate out of. We have pallet racking for 24,380 pallets. So that's how big the warehouse is. Yeah, it's 2 floors, and I also got stuck in a freight elevator last night. Not fun. Yeah, freight elevators are terrifying. So so I have this opportunity, and I'm like, well, before I couldn't get trucks delivered, I couldn't get pallets delivered, I couldn't ship pallets. So I wanted to figure out, how do I take advantage of this to make myself money? And what I've basically been doing is I've found that wholesale and private label, those business models, they take a little bit to set up. They're a little bit tricky to set up. But maybe Brandon can talk about a little bit more. Once I get it set up and do that effort and get that account, find those products, make those listings, and rank them, I'm done. Okay. My business then becomes maybe 15 minutes to an hour every week of just calling suppliers and reordering stuff, or going online or emailing people. And I'm still able to get roughly the same amount of retail arbitrage in, but with much less time, because now my business, this I'm leveraging the time because, I'm spending more money in less time. So one of the things that I'm trying to do is like I try to spend $1,000 at least every day. Okay, try to average that in a weekly, so $7,000 a week. So it's real easy when I can sit down and place some orders and buy $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff in an hour. I technically don't have to do any more work for the week. I'm kind of done.
And how
Okay.
many stores would you have to realistically hit to spend five or 10K? Like how many hours in a day would that take for retail?
I mean, I can hit that in a weekend, but I also like wake up early, go to bed late, and have a giant cargo van that fills very nicely. So I mean, it might take me a weekend if I'm lucky. It could take me a week or two if I'm not lucky.
And you don't do these little, like, if I'm going to do retail arbitrage, because I play the RA game on a way smaller level than you do. For me to go do RA, I'm driving out and I might be gone for like 8 hours total, and then I come back. You're out for days on end because you go and you crash at people's houses and you stay in hotels and you do the full trips.
I crash at Brandon's house quite a bit.
Yeah, quite often.
so yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, I very often I'll go to like so if you guys don't know where I am, I'm in central Pennsylvania. I'm in near Altoona, a little town around there. I'll go out to Harrisburg a lot. I'll go crash. I have family up in Altoona or in Allentown. I'll go to New Jersey, which is like 4 hours away. I not too long ago went out to Baltimore. So yeah, I'm road tripping. I've road tripped all the way out to like Wisconsin and shopped the whole way, prepped at somebody's house, and then driven back from Wisconsin. And that's the longest RA trip I actually did was down to Florida. I drove down to Florida, shopped the entire way, and shopped the whole way back.
So I'm curious too. Do you see, because obviously you're hitting major retailers as well as like the smaller regional stores. Do you see that much inventory difference when you're going from somewhere like Pennsylvania down to Florida? Like, do you see the regions change in like the Walmart or Target inventory, or is it all pretty universal?
It's fairly universal, but what you'll notice is a big difference based on the I want to say the economic, the economic poorer areas will have different inventory. That's what I'm trying to say. So, poorer areas will have different inventory. Pittsburgh has pretty bad inventory because it's a poor area. A lot of the area there is pretty rough. Whereas you go out to New Jersey and you have a Kohl's every 10 miles, and they're just like loaded with high quality items. So that's kind of it, because you have more money in more concentration.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And quick in the chat, guys, what are some of your guys' struggles? Because our audience here on YouTube is very heavy into like thrifting for eBay or retail arbitrage for Amazon, online arbitrage. For those of you wanting to make that transition into wholesale, like what are some of the stopping points? Because these guys are the experts in it, right? So what are some of the transitional problems that you guys might be facing that these guys can help answer some questions with? And of course, you guys know what some of the FAQs would be when it comes to that transition.
Yeah, I understand that a lot because at the very beginning, I did a lot of thrifting. Like the Goodwill outlet stores where you pay by the pound, you have to fight people through the bins and everything.
Gotta get elbows ready.
I did a lot of that, and sold a bunch of used stuff, a lot of board games, and I very much understand the thrifting struggles and doing some eBay and stuff, and some of the pain points out. So anything you guys have question wise, yeah, absolutely ask.
I think one of the things, one of the pain points that actually turned out not to be that painful, and one of the biggest tips that I could say if you're going to try to do private label or wholesale where you're going to make your own listings on Amazon, it's a lot of people think it's impossible or very difficult to make your own listing on Amazon. It's actually not very hard to do once you've done it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now at this point, once I've done it, it's just like I can do it in my sleep. Okay. And once you've done it 50, 60 times, it's almost like making a shipment Okay. You remember how hard the first shipment was to Amazon, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you read all the directions and you had somebody helping you, you're like, your brain's melting. And that's something that is true with making Amazon listings, with every step of it. Even, you know, with the photography, the product photography. First times I was doing product photography, you know, it was very difficult to do. I've actually been doing product photography for probably a decade now, just because I like doing jewelry and stuff. But for doing it for Amazon, because they're so specific with what they want the photos, I was so nervous about it, and that was a really kind of a false roadblock block, because as soon as I just started doing it, I was like, oh, this is real easy. These are really easy. It's basically a big square photo.
It's easy to get that mental block too, because I remember when I first started, wanting to do private label, and just coming from never doing that before, the whole concept of, I'm going to have to, talk to people in a whole different country, and, they might not speak the language, and I have to get it over here, and like all the things, then I have to make the listing and get it to rank and sell it. All the things can be really, really overwhelming, but when you break it down into very, very small actionable steps, that's kind of how you overcome that. Like, you just pick the very next step and just get that done, even if it's just like one small step a week. Because I think you can take really big projects then and make them really attainable.
Yeah. Martin asked a question, and I want to we'll still take RA questions, but he asked a question, so I want to make sure to answer that question. He said, when you do these trips, do I have a product in mind, or do I just scan and freestyle? So the answer to your question is both. Okay. So a lot of times I have a sale in mind. Okay. So like Brandon and I last year for Q4, we went out for the GameStop sale. So I had a bolo list from GameStop. We went into stores and we were just hitting whatever we could find off that bolo list. Okay. Or if Kohl's is having a sale where, 30% off with your credit card and 20% back in Kohl's cash, I'll just go to Kohl's and look around their kitchen section, buy a bunch of bras, look in their video game section, and leave. I don't necessarily have a bolo per se, as much as just a sale in mind. But then once I go into a store like Kohl's, if I'm like, oh, Kohl's has this mixer on sale and it was very profitable, at the next store I go to, if I don't want to, go too deep on it, I'll be like, oh, there it is again. And there's another item that's profitable, and then go on with that. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
That's a solid piece of advice there. And that's because people always ask too, when you get into the retail arbitrage game, like, how do you build a bolo list? And for those of you maybe newer, that's be on the lookout for. So it's a specific list of items that maybe Walmart, Kohl's are carrying that you can make profit on. And then it's just store hopping, trying to find as many as you can. So you build your own bolo list by doing just that. You start by blindly scanning, because you may be going in for a specific sale, walking up and down the aisles. And once you find one thing, chances are if it's a retail store, it's at another store too. And so you just build on it that way.
Yeah. So finding wholesale places and getting those magical invoices, that's where I'm at. Yeah, that's one of the things. We actually just did a big webinar in our group about that. And it can be difficult, but honestly, it's just persistence, and it's just being looking around with what you have available in your area is kind of the thing, and there's a lot of people that are, I do wholesale a lot differently than a lot of people. I was talking to somebody last night, and they were talking about trying to find beauty products under 1,000 in rank. Okay, their average rank is under 1,000, which is insanely fast selling. Okay, I don't touch that kind of stuff because everybody wants that. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of times Brandon's whole private label products, he has several of them, but they might only sell 5 to 10 or 20 a day. Okay. Yeah. And that's the stuff that people don't want to do that. But at the same time, if you have 5 or 6 products that are selling 20 a day, that's the same as having one product that sells 120 a day. If your profit margins are all the same. So, but you're in such a small niche that it's much, much easier to compete with. It's much less competitive. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody forgets about that whole, I really don't even care what category you're talking about. The 30K range, that's a nice sweet spot really, because it can really fluctuate depending on the overall sales of Amazon in times of the year. You can go from 5 to 25 a day pretty easily in that range.
Yeah, my one, the grocery PL product that I have, like my big one, it's like 15K in grocery right now, and it's selling like, I think like 10 to 20 a day. It's been like pretty consistently between like 10 and 20K in grocery, and it's selling pretty well. But I mean, it's tricky. Right now, February for me is always a bad month. No matter what I'm ever selling, when I was doing engagement rings, it's a bad month for engagement rings. It's a bad month for clothing. It's a bad month for grocery. But March is where it's at. March has always been a good month for me. Brandon, that's been a good month for you, right?
Yeah, March is where it starts picking up. Like January is good. February just it dips down. It gets cold. There's a threat of a blizzard every day on the news. People are worried about other things. And March is when it really starts picking back up, at least for most of the categories that I'm in, for sure.
Yeah. So, Kristen Larson asks, when do I negotiate terms with wholesalers? Well, I'm not cash strapped, so that's kind of one of the things. And I don't mean that to be like flippant in my comment on that. What I like to do is I'm a big fan of I'll buy it all. Okay, the number of times that I've just bought stuff and said I'll buy it all is like probably like the sexiest thing you can say to a wholesaler, because they just want to get rid of it, especially if they're like a liquidator and they maybe have like a little bit left in the warehouse or something. And if you're cash strapped, that can be difficult. But the other thing is if you have good credit or you have good business credit, it's entirely possible to negotiate terms. Okay. And I have several grocery wholesalers that I have terms with where I have to pay them within 90 days of receipt. So for instance, one, I get a 5% discount if I pay it within 90 days. So everything I buy from them, I know that I'm going to sell within 90 days. So I don't have to, I can go there and get $20,000 worth of grocery, send it in. I don't have to worry about it, as long as I know it'll sell.
Right.
And then another thing on that same topic too is, and this is worked on one of the accounts that I have now, where even if you are cash strapped, one of I'll use my account in this example was company. I just reached out to them cold turkey. I looked up some of their listings. And I saw where I can help with their listings, horrible pictures, etc. The whole ball game. And then contacted them, let them know I'm interested in a wholesale account, blah, blah, blah. They accepted me in. And I asked them right up front, like, do you guys offer a tier system for discounts based on how much I buy? And right up front, he's like, yeah, for your first time, let me see what I can work out. And he gave me a 15% discount, which from what I hear, 10 to 20 is about average for your first time purchasing for some of these wholesalers. And so you can also work towards that. Like if I spend $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month, they might be able to offer some bigger discount for you if you're consistent with them. And of course, it's all relationship, right? It doesn't matter what business model you're talking about, retail arbitrage all the way to PL. It's always going to come down to your relationships. Just like Brandon can talk probably about, your relationship with your manufacturers, your suppliers across.
It's huge. Like they sent me Christmas presents. You know what I mean? Like it's like really personalized Christmas presents.
Which is actually really interesting because it's like hard to find Christmas cards in China.
It was a Christmas card, like a legit like Christian Christmas card, which is very, very hard to get in China.
Wow, absolutely. I did not know that.
Yeah.
They're still communist over there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really tough. But enough can't be said about relationship building, because after you work with somebody and start, spending money with them, inevitably something is going to go wrong, whether it's on your end, you're going to make a mistake, or on their end, and they're going to make a mistake. And you need to be building up this trust, slowly, increasing orders and over time, that whenever those do happen, it's going to be okay. And you're gonna both want to work through it because they know you're not just like a one-off sale, and they're going to want your future repeat business, and you're both going to want to make money and work through that together. It's really important.
So Hazan and Amazon seller and a few guys, they're asking kind of a similar question here about resellers wanting to deal with Amazon versus, small resellers. One of the things about that is like a lot of the brands that I carry are probably not products that Amazon would ever have on their radar. Okay, like there's brands that I carry that if you don't live in central Pennsylvania, you don't know what this brand is. Okay, and that's like kind of very, very much it. Like unless Amazon hires some guy that drives around Altoona, Pennsylvania, they've never heard of this brand. So and that's been very profitable for me because even though it sounds kind of like weird, there's still a lot of room in selling like regional stuff. I do a lot of regional grocery products, a lot of regional products like that. So
yeah, because you have to remember it's not just people in that region that are going to be buying these products. A lot of it are going to be people that maybe grew up there, remember what this town is known for, and then they move and they have families in other states and they can't go and physically shop there anymore. So the only way they could get it is by ordering it online. So there's actually a bigger market for local brands than what you'd expect there to be.
Yeah, and Success with Solly brought up a good point. There's a big pain in the ass. I know a manufacturer that deals with Amazon directly, and Amazon can be a huge pain, just a huge pain. So I'm easy. I'm like, hey, here's money. Hey, here's a loading dock. Bring it to me. They're pretty easy terms for the people that I'm dealing with. But yeah. Hey, you know what? John's asking, have you seen the thing about the Amazon Zero program, the Project Zero?
I've seen it floating around. I have not dug into the text of it yet, though.
Yeah, I haven't either. But here, Brandon, did you dig into it?
A little bit. I think, does that have to do with the transparency program?
No, no, it doesn't actually.
That's not the transparency program. You know what? I read the article and they did mention the transparency program in it, although they didn't call it the transparency program. But they might want to start it with the transparency program and then take it further, is what it seemed like to me. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, that is, if you're a brand owner, and let's say, like as a private label person, I manufacture and sell all my own products. They're going to assign you a very specific barcode for each one of your products, so that people can't buy it and then relist it again. Once this product with that specific barcode is listed on Amazon and bought, then it's done. So it's kind of like a one-off thing to kind of protect people's brands. It's something they started a little bit ago and some people have gotten into. I think that's good. It seems like the Z program is going to take it a little bit further, but we just haven't seen enough of it yet to really tell how that's going to affect the platform.
I think, though, I've been on Amazon long enough, and Brandon, you've been on Amazon long enough. We've all been on Amazon long. Well, you, me, Charles, and Brandon have been doing this long enough that I've seen Amazon, enact policies and then retract policies. I think the transparency program has been a failure for them. I don't think that it's been very successful because I got hit with a transparency violation. Okay. And when I found out about this, I contacted Amazon and I was buying this product from a distributor. Part of the transparency program is that every item in your entire distribution network has to have the transparency barcode. Okay.
So whether you get it from the distributor or you buy it from Target, like they all have to have it.
All have to have it. Okay. And I bought this product from a distributor without the barcode. Okay. And I reported to Amazon. I was like, I bought this from an authorized distributor, recent inventory, and it did not have a barcode. Okay. And just, I hated it. And I mean, that's the thing. You're going to see these companies skirting the rules. There's companies that, they were basically saying, well, because it doesn't have this sticker on it, it's inauthentic. I'm like, no, it's authentic. I bought it from you guys. You're just being asses, and that's what it came down to. And I think that you're going to see lawsuits over that kind of stuff, that kind of heavy-handedness. And this Project Zero is going to be the same thing. I think that it's going to be short-lived. And
I don't say it's sticking.
Yeah, I don't see it sticking. I don't see, unless Amazon just bites the bullet and does real-time moderation with actual people that speak English and understand this stuff, they're never going to be successful with any of these programs. That's
Yep,
kind
I agree.
There you have it, folks. Transparency Program 101.
Yeah.
This is a good question because I think this where probably a lot of people are starting too, especially if they're doing RA. What's the best way to approach wholesale with $3,000 to start? Like if you don't know anything about it. So this will actually be a good question for both of you. So Chris, just and Brandon, you guys are swipe clean of everything you have. You have your knowledge. Okay. You're left with that. But if you have $3,000 to start with, and obviously we're going to go, Chris, you're talking about wholesale, Brandon, you're talking about private label, which methods or routes would you go on how to develop your business using $3,000 as an opening capital?
Well, first thing I would assume that you sell already retail arbitrage, but you've lost everything. You got no inventory. The first thing that I would do is I would figure out what I was selling retail arbitrage that sold well. Okay. You can easily look into Inventory Lab, look at your profit and loss or your ASIN profitability, and see, this category of product I was selling, very well. Let me look into that. And then I would go from there. I would look for local suppliers that are in my neck of the woods that'll save you money on shipping, that'll get you inventory faster. $3,000. If you want to grow that, you need to flip it fast. Okay. So you don't want to have to wait. Yeah, you don't have to wait. I'm in Pennsylvania. I don't want to wait for shipping from California. Even if I'm going to spend a little bit extra to get it the next day because I'm buying it from some guy in Pennsylvania, that's fine. And then I would be looking to go broad. I would not be going deep. I'd be going broad.
No, so you beat me to it.
and you can go broad from a supplier. And the other thing that somebody brought up here, they're asking about, I'm low on capital. How do I negotiate? One of the best negotiation strategies is like I say to supplier A, how much for this? And they say $50. And I go to supplier B and I'm like, they're like 45. I say, okay, well, listen, supplier A, they said 45, you're at 50. What can we do? Because I want to buy it from the cheapest place. 9 times out of 10, supplier A will say, we'll do 45. Okay. And so even if you're looking around all over the country for the cheapest prices, as long as you can get stuff locally, you can very often easily negotiate price on that. And that would be what I would be doing. I'd be going wide, not deep.
Yeah, and if that's your starting capital too, like Chris said, you're going to want to look at. We're assuming you did retail arbitrage and what you're already successful at. So you can not just specifically look for the exact products that you're selling, but other things inside that niche, maybe bought with it. You should be familiarizing yourself with a niche because whenever you're going wholesale, it's nice to have a little bit of kind of knowledge about the niche in general. And while doing retail arbitrage, that's a really good time to start learning about products and kind of what sells and gaining not just knowledge of a specific item, but remember, you're not selling specific items. You're selling to a class of people. Okay. Whenever you're selling, you have to think of the people. If you're selling a camping item, you're not just selling a campfire griddle. You're selling it to the person who would be buying that, and you have to think of other things that person would like with that also. So I like to think in terms of the person I'm selling to, not just of the exact products that I'm selling.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that laid it out pretty simply. So what other questions do you guys have that you would like to throw into the chat? And I could scroll because I saw a couple up here as well.
Here's the other thing. Like, as far as like, is $3,000 enough to get into wholesale? I mean, any amount of money is enough to get into wholesale. You need to define, there's different kinds of wholesale business models. Okay. There's people that do the wholesale business model where they're buying truckloads and Connex containers. You can't do that. Okay. Right. Don't do that with 3,000. I don't even think you can do that for $3,000. But there's also wholesale suppliers that I have where the wholesale minimum's a case. or
And that's a lot of wholesale suppliers,
Yeah.
more so than what you're going to think of. Like
Yeah.
a lot will have a much lower MOQ, minimum order quantity, than what you are assuming that they do.
Even co-packing. I have suppliers. I'm going to be getting basically a truckload in a month or so from one of my co-packers, like literally a truckload of grocery products. And that's costing me a lot more than $3,000. But their MOQ is actually one case. Okay. I've just been doing well enough with them, and now I'm getting into that larger quantity. Andre says, is $3,000 enough to start a successful PL launch? Here's the thing, Andre. Yeah, it is. But I think that you're asking the wrong question. I mean, like with PL stuff, like that's the whole thing that so Brandon and I are on here because Brandon and I are working together. We've made a course and we'll talk about that later. But like there's products that I've launched that I paid like $200 to launch. Like that's with advertising, with the product, United States side suppliers. And it's a going wide, not deep thing.
Yeah, there's absolutely ways to launch private label, and when we say private label, we're talking about a listing that doesn't exist that adds value to the niche. Okay, it's not specifically making a single product better. We're making a listing that's adding value to the niche where people are searching. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. It's not always the traditional way of find a product, order from China. You got to order at least 1,000. There's ways to do it stateside and on a smaller scale. And also, I wanted to say that you don't have to use, like I use a prep company, and I like it because it allows me to grow my business as big as I want it to be. I think scaling is very important to me. So I wanted whatever I was doing to be scalable. But also remember that I didn't start out using a prep company. Like my first PM, I got in a garage and did it all myself. I'm a big fan of outsourcing and freeing up your time, but I always think it's good to learn how to do it yourself first. You should be able to outsource because you want to, not because you have to. Okay. So if I was going to outsource, even listing creation or PPC optimization, I would personally want to know how to do that first, just so that I know that I'm getting what I pay for,
I would really recommend never, ever, ever outsourcing something that you don't at least have a knowledge of, like a basic knowledge of.
Right. You don't have to be an expert.
Yeah. You don't need to be an expert in it. But like, that's like one of the things, like when people try to grow a retail arbitrage business, I'll see people all the time. They're like, okay, I want to grow my retail arbitrage business. How do I hire people to shop for me? I'm like, well, do you know how to shop? Well, no, I'm not good at it. Well, how do I hire people to be good at it? Well, you can't train people to be good at it if you're bad at it, okay? Because it is a skill. You have to have that skill. Now, it doesn't mean that people can't be better than you, but also, back to outsourcing, one of the things that people also very frequently do is outsource the expensive jobs, okay? Using the shoppers as an example. Charles, do you have shoppers?
No, I got to the point. I've hired shoppers seasonally for Q4 for the last 2 years, which worked out great, but I don't want to manage shoppers. I don't want to manage employees that go out and do all the shopping. It didn't fit the lifestyle that I wanted. Like you guys see my employee work back at Ryan. I'll happily have an employee here at the office doing prepping and shipping on eBay, but the shopper side, I did not want to go down that route, but I know exactly what goes into it.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is that a lot of people, they'll try to like hire shoppers and then they do the prep. Well, do you realize how hard it is to shop right, but how easy it is to do prep? Like prepping's pretty easy. Okay. Once you get the hang of it, it's real easy. So, I mean, like I can hire people to, I just had to make 2,500 little cardboard boxes for a wholesale product. And I literally paid somebody $10 an hour to stand there and just make boxes. I'm not doing it. I'm working on something else that I'm going to make a lot more than $10 an hour. But why would I do that when I can hire somebody else to do that and I can make $100 an hour?
Yeah,
You know,
all the monotonous tasks that are so simple, you shouldn't be hiring out the more complicated tasks until you have all of that automated to begin with, in my opinion.
yeah. And I
Especially
mean,
in this business model too. I mean, it doesn't matter if people are flipping out of thrift stores doing eBay or if they're doing private label wholesale. I think we can all agree that you make your money when you buy stuff. Like your sourcing is probably the last thing you should outsource because that's the one thing you should be best at, and that's where you make most of your money.
yeah. And that's the other thing. I think a lot of people ask, like, oh, well, when should I outsource shopping? When should I outsource prep? The answer to that is when you're doing prep that is keeping you from shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're financially, when I first started, I had a full-time job. So like I would go shopping on the weekend, but I didn't have enough capital. Like I could go shopping on Saturday, prep everything Sunday, have it out to UPS on Monday. That was fun. But as soon as that got out of hand, that's when I had to start, bringing people in to help me.
That's so true because the first time I remember thinking I should be shopping, I remember there was a 30% off Nike sale going on, and I'm one of the fortunate ones that could sell Nike on Amazon. And I remember I was here prepping a shipment at like midnight thinking I should have hit that sale today, and I missed out on all the good stuff. That was the first time it even became a thought. And then, of course, connecting in with people like you and all the guys doing way bigger sales than I am, you guys all said the same thing. And Chris brought up this. Chris was one of our speakers, and Brandon was there too on the Rockstars cruise that we hosted a few years ago, which was a blast, right?
That was a great time.
Favorite memories I have. So fun. And I remember Chris did a speech, and he brought up like when you start hitting that point where you're not shopping, and you said that same thing. If you're not shopping because you're prepping and you should be shopping, that's when it's time to outsource. And that just clicked that for me that night. And then especially on the eBay account, that's when I put out an ad and Ryan got hired. And that was the eBay account's almost probably like 99% outsourced right now. I still do the buying part and he does everything else. And that's been a fantastic model for us to have.
And I don't think that's limited to your exact everything in your day-to-day business either. Like anything that you don't have the time to do that's incredibly easy that anybody can do and you don't care to do yourself, you could be spending your time better and more efficiently elsewhere, whether that be hiring someone to do meal prep for you, laundry services, cleaning your house, laundry services. Like, there's lots of people out there that just hate folding laundry. Like there's absolutely laundry services that, I mean, I know that's kind of a silly example for some people to think about.
It's so true though. How many hours do we waste doing laundry?
It's ridiculous.
I think one of the things is one of the things that I think catapulted my business was I started, and this was before I was making this much money an hour. I started thinking that my time was worth $60 an hour. So my question always was, is this a $60 an hour job? Am I doing the dishes? Could I pay somebody less than $60 an hour to do the dishes for me? And the answer to that is shockingly yes. So it became very easy to delegate time when I'm like, oh, I need to put bras in bags and list them on Amazon. Is that a $60 an hour job? No. But is buying bras a $60 an hour job? Yep. So then I was doing the $60 an hour jobs. Now it's become like $120 an hour jobs. So there's stuff that I used to, like when I was in $60 an hour mindset, I was still doing that now I don't do anymore. Okay. And that's really helped me. And like, that's one of the things, like I've been doing this long enough with like e-commerce, not even on Amazon, where I know people that think they're making a crap load of money, but they're making a minimum wage because they're doing everything. Okay. And if you're making $60 an hour for a few hours a day and $1 an hour for a few hours a day, it real quick averages out to $7.25.
That is so true. Somebody asked, can I start contacting suppliers with my EIN or do I have to wait for my state certificate?
Julissa, you should just get your state certificate. They're usually like $150 to $200 to register a business in any state. Just do it.
Especially on the wholesale side too. Like the one thing I've learned, like even if you are flipping stuff out of your garage or your spare bedroom still, wholesalers like want to work with businesses. They don't want to sell to people who are just flipping out of their spare bedroom. So you have to present yourself as a business, right? So do whatever paperwork you need to get done to make that legit. So if you need to put together basic website and just business cards, a professional email, all that kind of stuff makes a difference.
I was going to say on the website too. You don't have to pay someone to make you a really fancy website. You just need something that exists, like with your business name. Like it could be seriously one page and a contact, like a main page and a contact page.
Yeah.
What you're really trying to get out of that web page is you want the professional looking email. You don't want, Brandon Traynor at gmail.com. You want, Brandon Traynor at mycompanyname.com.
Brandon Traynor flippingshit.com.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what you want. Like that way, whenever you send an email, they're gonna see it. It's gonna look a lot more reputable than if you just have like some, Hotmail account or Outlook.
Some of them are probably gonna try to look you up too. They're gonna try to look for your Instagram account. Like that's real life now. People are gonna hunt down your social media stuff too.
I guess, yeah. The other thing that I'll tell you about email addresses, just a tip, I should probably write this down and talk about this in our group, is don't be Chris at yourcompanyname.com. Don't be
That's a good point.
Don't do that.
Good.
Be
good call.
owner at Chris at companyname.com. Be sales, be acquisitions.
Info at, contact at. I use all those.
At, it just makes you look professional.
That's a really solid piece of advice too.
I was expecting a very important wholesale phone call, and I'm looking at my phone. My phone's ringing, and I hand it to my assistant who's prepping. I'm like, listen, Kate, answer my phone. Tell them, put them on hold, and then give me my phone. So she's like, hello, this is, company name. How may I direct your call? And like, does this whole thing. I'm like, yes.
That
I
is
used to work in call
fantastic.
centers. So, we know how to sound very professional on a phone call. But that just made me sound so big, and I'm literally standing next door,
Yeah, and we joke about that, but in all reality, it's so easy to set up a system like that with emails, with sales at, contact at, director at. Because, God.
No, and you just use catch-all emails.
Yeah, things like that, because I use that a lot whenever I source from China, because like the owner's not going to be negotiating with some of these brokers. You know what I mean? Like you give yourself the appearance of a bigger business, and not just the appearance of a bigger business. If they ask you a question and you need a little bit of time to think about it, if they think they're talking to the owner, they want to know right then and there. But if they think they're talking to sourcing director at whatever your company is, then you can be like, hold on, I want to ask my boss. And then you could have like a day or two to think about it and then get back to them and kind of play the middle ground there. It just gives you a little bit more leeway in time.
Also, you can say, I need to talk to my business partner. That's another,
Yeah. Somebody asked if you need to have a shopping cart on your website. You don't. Think of your website as a basically on-screen business card. That's all they need to see.
That's a really good analogy of it.
You literally can use Wix. I've never used Wix, but
that's literally what I have set up. Just it took me like maybe 20 minutes. 10 minutes of it was me just being OCD and wanting to place things in a certain place. But you could slap together a free Wix website in under 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. Ash is actually asking a really good question. And do you tell brands that you'll be selling on Amazon? I see a lot of sellers getting IP claims because the distributor is fine with selling, but the brand is not. A lot of what I've been focusing on is less going with distributors and more going with manufacturers. And so, Charles, ask me where I'm going to sell the stuff I'm about to buy from you.
Where do you plan, or what are your intentions with the product I'm going to be giving you, Mr. Chris Anderson?
Well, you know what? My business, my insert company name, we're a multi-channel Sorry, okay, I feel pressure right now. We're a multi-channel fulfillment company, so we're going to be selling this, eBay, Walmart, Amazon, Target just opened up for third-party sellers, so we're kind of a little everywhere. Do you have any problems with exporting stuff?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Because
he had to get his game face on the first time, but he nailed it the second time.
But I think that's important now, especially even more so than when it used to be, because it's much easier to, if that manufacturer or that distributor doesn't want to work with you because you sell on Amazon, like they're not the only game out there. You know what I mean? Like it's much easier to deal with that and just, okay, I don't want to waste any more of my time, and I'm going to go on to the next one, and find someone who I do want to work with, and I'm not going to have to fight an IP complaint later on and waste, my time.
The other thing that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to, people throw around the term add value, give them value. Okay. So I have a company and they're out of Pittsburgh and Brandon knows what company I'm talking about. So I give them a call one day. I'm like, hey, I want to buy your stuff. Okay. And I talked to one of the owners. There's 2 owners. And we all know that every successful company has 2 owners. Like, the 2 presidents of the United States of America. Yeah. Always successful. So I talk to owner 1 and I tell him everything, I want to sell this on Amazon. I'm legit, everything. They're like, yeah, call back next week. We're leaving for the weekend. Call back next week. We'll get you all set up. So I call back. I get another owner. Okay, they're 50 owners. They're brothers. He's like, let me stop you right there. We're not selling to you. And they refused to sell to me because I sold on Amazon. So owner 1 was all about it. Owner 2 was not all about it. So I did some digging, and what I ended up doing was I called back, and I was like, okay, listen, you don't want me to sell your brand on Amazon. Can I buy your product and white label it, which in grocery terms is called co-packing? And now I have a co-packer that is selling this product, and this is like the best. Like, this is a great product, but I'm putting my name on it, not my name, but my brand name on it and selling it. So that has been, a huge thing for me. And I get they don't care because I'm not using their brand. They don't care what I do with it, but I still get that value. And plus, their online presence sucked, so it wasn't that hard to overtake the manufacturer. Let's just be perfectly honest. Okay. And real quick, Carl, did my first RA at Walmart today. Congratulations.
Nice.
We should all
I like it. Gotta get started.
We need some real drinks to be able to cheers to it, but we got bubblies and LaCroix.
We're all drinking water.
I know. Why are we all drinking water? This is such a rare occasion. We're getting ready for Vegas. What we're doing.
I stopped drinking. I got to build up my tolerance before I come to Vegas, or I'm going to die.
It's going to be rough.
Yeah, I was taking a little break before Vegas because it's going to be tough.
Geofold Alley, I don't know how to pronounce that, but if I put my product in a plastic bag with a staple on top with my business name, is that private label? I've seen some people saying this. Some people will say that's private label, but that's not private label. That's not really, that's not a good business model. And Brandon, why don't you talk very briefly? I can't talk about Brandon's products because, well, whenever I've done it, I've been a little bit drinking, not bubbly. And I've accidentally given away store names and product niches and stuff.
Store names, brands.
Yeah. But Brandon just launched a product, and the product already is selling on Amazon, but Brandon greatly improved on the product. Like, way better. Okay. Can you talk about that a little bit and how that's helped you be successful?
Yeah. So the way you're talking about is kind of the old way of doing private label.
Would
maybe
you say it's the Scott Volker method?
No, I would not say that. But anyway, that was like the old way. It was, you'd get the exact same product, you put your own brand on it, and you could just do that, and you still can put a plastic bag around it, throw your sticker on, and that's your own product. But as Amazon's progressing, the marketplace is getting more saturated, and not just that, buyers are becoming smarter too. They're not just looking for whatever's first on the list, and what they're viewing. They want to see what value you're providing them. So, in my opinion, the way to do private label now is you can't take the exact same product that somebody is selling. You have to take that product and make a change to the actual product, not just the packaging, and make it better and provide value. Whether you're bundling something with it or you're changing the product itself. Because if the only thing that's making you different is your different brand sticker on there, why would someone buy your product instead of somebody else's? And if you say that your product's going to be cheaper, that is a type of value, but that is the worst type of value, because there's always going to be someone that can buy in bigger bulk than you, that's going to price it cheaper, or it's going to realize that this product is failing because there is no extra value in it, and they're just going to try to recover half their losses and liquidate.
Yeah.
So I don't suggest doing that.
No,
would you say too, on that same topic of like the value, because a lot of people do that where they think, well, if mine's cheaper, then more people are going to buy it because it's cheaper. But
Yeah.
we've all seen products that suck, but because they have great branding and marketing, they sell a crap ton more than some of the cheap guys do.
Yeah. I would like to talk about so on pricing in and of itself. Not everyone in America wants to buy the cheapest product, for what they want. Okay. Like I very rarely, on things that I care about, I very, very rarely buy the cheapest one. I'm usually more in the mid to higher range. And there's some people out there that will buy the most expensive one, no matter what it is, because they think it's the best because of the perceived value of the higher price point. So by giving yourself the lowest price point, you're also giving a perceived value of the lowest quality. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, for some products, that's not going to matter as much, but it's not going to give you the value and the strength that you think it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I used to sell engagement rings. I used to make titanium wedding and engagement rings. I was the most expensive brand in the market. Okay. And I outsold everyone else. And it was because I also had perceived quality because of my pricing model.
Yeah. I'll share a quick story, like, especially if you're buying presents, and Q4 is a great time to realize this. A lot of people will buy, the higher end, the higher price point items around Q4 because they're buying it gifts for other people, and that's going to work for, holidays and birthdays and stuff too, because you might buy yourself something that's like the cheapest, bottom of the barrel that you can. But when you're buying it for somebody else, you're going to spend more money, especially if you don't know anything about it. Like my wife had, she needed a hair thing for in the shower, like a shower cap. And I, be quiet, Chris. And I didn't know anything about shower caps. I just knew that she needed one. And I saw her like, the day before, and she had her like hair tied up in a t-shirt or something to keep the water off of it. So, I get on Amazon and not knowing anything about shower caps, I see all of them. I buy the most expensive shower cap possible. It was like a $60 shower cap. I'm not even lying. It was like a $60 shower cap. Only because, I wanted it to be nice because it was for her, not for me. I didn't know anything about the products. So while I read the reviews and the item description, I also used the price point. Like that's where I started. There's a lot of people that do that. Just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Super smart though.
All
right, folks, we got a couple more minutes left. So if you guys want to drop questions below, now would be the time to do so.
I will say this. Somebody was asking, you get to run your own website, a few bucks a month, and with SEO Genius. Okay. You don't need to do any SEO on your website. Literally, all you need is a URL because you're going to put it on your business card. I wasn't going to show my actual. I have a business card. So I have a business card that like I hand out at like trade shows. It's like, Chris Anderson for my, superherosellers.com for my consulting. But I also have one that's actually for my business name with my name on it, owner, all that stuff. And then it's got a URL on it. That URL, literally, the only people that would ever go to it are people that have my business card. That's it. I've
gotten that question a lot too. People are like, well, what do I do for my SEO? Guys, understand this. You don't need any, like Chris said, you don't need a single ounce of SEO on your website unless for some reason you want it to be found on Google. That's the only purpose of SEO it's search engine optimization. So unless you want to be found, you really don't need any type of.
I actually specifically turn it off. You can in WordPress turn off Google indexing your site. I do that.
Yeah, especially it's like when you create content, right? You don't want people stumbling upon your storefront because you had great SEO on it because they found that website.
Yes.
I actually call GoDaddy and have them, or I start by calling. You can do it through their website, but I actually have them turn my website on and off. Like it just, it's just a placeholder, and I only have it on whenever I'm doing, contacting certain people and stuff, just because I don't want, random people stumbling across it.
Yeah.
Searching.
Next thing you know, you be getting phone calls like, "Hey, I found your website. I want to get into private label too." And I thought maybe you're doing good.
Yeah. No, you
I'm
don't
also
want that.
super paranoid. I go way too many precautions, but
Yeah, I will say this though. I think the biggest thing for me is Brandon and I talked about this, and Charles and I have talked about this before, is adding value to things. Okay, and that's like the thing that we're working on right now with our course is about adding value and transitioning from retail arbitrage and online arbitrage into wholesale and private label. And how can you do that easily with not the biggest budget? But still adding value so that you're able to get those sales. Because somebody asked, like, after you launch a private label product, how do you get it to rank? Well, I just do PPC, and that's it. Like, if you do really good PPC, you get it every time, and that's one of the things we talk about a lot.
Yeah, that's one of the things. The only thing that ranks you higher is sales. Okay, so and then the question becomes, how do you get sales? Well, you can do all kinds of giveaways and stuff, and it's different than it used to be. You can't do it as well as you could before. But if you have a product that adds value, shows value in that niche, and your main image shows it, if you use PPC and just get that in front of people, people are going to buy it. You should only have to get it in front of people to get them to purchase it. You shouldn't have to, they should be purchasing it because it's on the first page. That doesn't work like it used to.
I mean, honestly, if you guys saw the Amazon listings that I've sold and sell a lot of, you would be shocked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just so basic, but they work. They work. Sometimes I don't even put descriptions in.
The PPC thing is so crucial too. I literally I'm targeting certain type of wholesale products I've been starting to sell in the personal care item world, the category. And I'm targeting these ones that when I look them up, the listings are 400,000 in personal care. Well, technically, it's a horrible rank compared to what some people would tell you. All I'm doing is I'm buying 36 or 48 of them, a couple cases, send them to Amazon, literally just run 5 or 10 cent PPC on those. And I've been selling a few a week, based on that current rank, right? It shouldn't be selling, but if you run just simple PPC, and like Chris said, they're not amazing listings, but all you do is just turn some PPC on. It works wonders.
Anything you have more than a few of, you should at least be running a small auto campaign. That's not just private label. That's anything that you're selling, retail arbitrage, replenishables, wholesale, anything that you have more than a couple of, more than 3. You should be running basic auto. You don't really need to get into a full optimized manual campaign for things of that are that low. Plus, because people run PPC heavily in private label and keywords and niches for a lot of these main brands. You're not competing against anybody, so you're going to get clicks super, super cheap.
Yeah, and the other thing, and this is so. Do you mind if I drop the link to the course thing right now?
Go for it.
Okay. So one of the things that Brandon and I do, and I do a lot of, Brandon doesn't do a lot of retail arbitrage. I do a lot of retail arbitrage. And to Charles's point, the number of times that I buy something and just retake the main photo of it to Amazon compliance and make it good, that has helped me so much. Okay. Now, I want to say this. I always somebody's talking about Amazon, about I wouldn't do business with anybody if I couldn't find their website. So when I said, I don't have Google index my website, the reason for that is because I want you to search it by the URL. I want you to type in www. I sound like an early 90s. You are like a early 90s. http:// www.mybusinessname.com. That's how I want you to find my business. I don't want you to Google it. I don't want you to stumble upon it. And the reason that you de-index it is because I have my phone number on there. I have my personal you call in my Pixel 3 rings phone number. I don't want that. Okay. I don't want it to get indexed because I don't want my phone to get spammed. Same with my email address. So by de-indexing it, boom.
Yep. You won't realize how many spam phone calls you'll get until you turn that off. It's
so ridiculous. Especially this time of year too. It's all the healthcare providers trying to get you in on their plan.
Yeah.
Ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your extended car warranty is
so
the
first my grandma of all people got a call on that, and she called me because this is an old car I had. She was a co-signer on it when I was like 18. And she called me. She's like, Charlie, they said that she still calls me Charlie, by the way. She's like, Charlie, they said that your warranty's up and you need to extend it. You need to call them back. My grandma, do not ever answer those phone calls again. Or the worst one, the scammers. They'll be like, we have an arrest warrant out for your grandson. And she's been hit with those and about losing her mind. Like,
that's terrible.
My one set of grandparents just got that. That I was arrested and needed bail money. And they right away, this is how funny my grandparents are. They're like, well, he wouldn't have given you our phone number. We're broke and we don't really like them. And I'm like, oh, you guys are the best.
We love them for being true.
I mean, I have wealthier family members that would be able to bail me out if I needed 10 grand. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, too many people, I made a post in Rockstars about this, about like just not adding value to things. Like, companies going out of business, like Victoria's Secret and Harley Davidson's complaining about stuff. And we're all about adding value. So that's like, we did it. So unless, Charles, you want to end on something in particular.
No, yeah, this is a great segue. Yeah. So obviously these guys have put together some amazing content. Yeah. And if you like, again, we love to bring different guest speakers on here because everyone has different learning styles. So if you guys connected with what these guys are doing, I love these guys. That's why we had them on our cruise, and we're able to continue working on some projects moving forward. And Brandon, did we get you talked into ASD?
Yeah, I got
it. So we get to hang out with them in
I'll comment on.
Fun. But yeah, so if you guys like what these guys do, if you like their style, they've got a little course that they put together, amazing content in there. So go ahead and lay out what it is.
What we're doing is basically showing people how to transition from retail arbitrage and online arbitrage that you already know, and whether you're doing 100,000 a month or 1,000 a month, whatever. How to transition into wholesale and private label. We focus heavily on grocery, but this is not about grocery. Every strategy that we're going to show can be applied to any category on Amazon, clothing. I guess probably not video games, but that's, but pretty much anything. We're teaching co-packing, which is private label for grocery. We're teaching how to find suppliers. Okay. We just did 2.5 hours of finding local suppliers where somebody picked a zip code for me, which was Minnetonka, Wisconsin.
Somewhere nowhere, Wisconsin. It was pretty good.
Middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. And I made like a spreadsheet of like 36 suppliers that were, groceries, toys, hard lines, soft lines, private label, grocery, co-packers, everything. And we've been working on this. Yeah, Steve, we're right by Beloit. Okay. So, or they were right by Beloit. So we showed that, trade shows. If you guys, obviously everybody's talking about ASD, Charles, we should do side hustles. Side hustle. What's your
network?
Side hustle network. It's going to take me a while to get used to it.
Side hustle network. Side hustle network. We should do a live one from ASD.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll go live here.
Do it. That would be a lot of fun. But we did. If you're interested in going to ASD, part of this program will be a walkthrough. If you can't come to ASD, I'll give you my contacts from all the previous ASDs and the next ASD. Let me put it like this. This will be, I ship back about 50 pounds of price lists and business cards and catalogs from ASD every year. So we've been doing that. Brandon, what are you, did I miss anything?
Some of the things we're talking about, it's not going to be like your traditional wholesale course, your traditional private label course, where you're just finding wholesale providers and buying in large bulk, and you're not sourcing from overseas, spending thousands of dollars at a time again and back. There's a way to do that that's kind of in between, so it's kind of like a stepping stone from retail arbitrage before you get to those points. But while saying that, that's not the traditional wholesale and private label course. We're going to teach all the skills that you're going to need if you did want to start doing like traditional private label, like a lot of what I do. Finding a company overseas, finding a product, changing it, adding value, because a lot of what you need to know to do that is just a very individual sets of skills like listing creation, PPC optimization, how to take proper photos, how to give value through photos.
Yeah.
What else? We've mentioned a lot of stuff, and it sounds like we're covering a lot, but we've automated our businesses a lot, and I think we have too much free time sometimes, and we try to pack like way too much into a course just because we think there's things that you don't necessarily need to know, but we're like, oh, I wish I would have known this going in at that level.
And that's the thing. Brandon and I work together on products all the time. We did about 30 products last year, and I'm trying to launch a product every week this year. So, I mean, these are not huge products. When people are like, oh, well, I have $3,000 to start a PL product, this is the course. Like, because none of these are costing me much more than $1,000 tops. Most of them are a couple $100. And
this is stateside, and a lot of it's local, really local.
Yeah, so that's what has been so good for me. And like Brandon said, we're showing you stuff that if you get this down, you can apply 1-to-1 to traditional wholesale, traditional private label. And, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you just briefly mentioned it, but the whole like ASD walkthrough, we do like to mention how we approach trade shows, not just ASD, but trade shows in general. And while you would greatly benefit if you're up at ASD and if you want to walk it with us and we can talk then, we also show how to source trade shows without actually going to the trade shows.
Mm-hmm. That's a really big thing.
I think that's huge in and of itself. So a little bit of everything with the main focus on transitioning from what you already know and what you're successful with of retail arbitrage, and taking that success and building onto it and making it more automated and kind of scaling out a little bit and freeing up your lifestyle.
And that's the main thing I love about your guys' layout compared to a lot of people is you don't need $5,000 or $10,000 to start with, which is what a lot of the other ones you need. And second of all, I think a lot of the reasons why, including myself, a lot of the reasons why some of us don't jump all into wholesale and private labels because we don't have confidence in creating a listing and running PPC campaigns and all that kind of stuff that goes into the logistics of it. And this is that stepping stone, like you said. So that's why I was attracted to this. So I'm excited to be able to jump in and do it myself with everybody.
I'm a huge fan of failure. Like,
I'm glad you like it because then I can learn from some of those.
Well, listen, me and Brandon, Brandon, you're going to know what I'm talking about. I had to move 3 pallets of a certain product around my warehouse yesterday that Brandon and I tried to launch last year. I mean, we spent $1,000 on 3 pallets of something. It just didn't work out quite right. We might be able to get it to work, but
and by not work out, we don't mean like we lost tons of money.
As in, even on it,
we made too many variations, and I think we launched like 20 variations.
Yeah, of one product
all at the same time.
Yeah, that was not a great idea.
And the ones that did well, like I broke even. It paid for the ones that didn't work out.
Yeah,
knowing that we could absolutely, have moved forward just focusing down on those ones that worked. But that's why we say failures don't always mean complete failures. It just means it didn't work out exactly how we wanted to.
Exactly.
And we have to learn from
And that's the thing. We're not afraid. Too many people, too many FBA gurus out there never want to admit to their failures. And I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty successful, but I'll tell you how I messed up, because when I mess up, I can tell you how I messed up so you don't make that same mistake over again.
It's so true. I feel like that's half. So I go live here on the show on YouTube every single week. Half the conversation is just, here's what I messed up on this week, guys.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of value to that. Like, and that's, for Charles to do that, that's one, super brave, and two, it's providing you a lot of value that you're really not going to hear from a lot of people.
No, but I will tell you this. We did our first in the course is still open. Obviously, we're going to keep it open probably till after ASD. Okay. We're going to be we did how to find wholesale suppliers at trade shows and locally to you. That was a big one we did on Friday, and everybody was real happy with that one. This week, I forget what the schedule is, but I put out the schedule already. We're doing 2 webinars this week that'll be about wholesale and private label, kind of working those out. And we would love you guys to join us. And what I did for Charles, everybody that's listening live, and I'll keep this up for a couple days. If you use code HUSTLE, you'll get 25% off the course. And then after those couple days, when I deactivate the code, okay, just use the code Rockstars. Gives you 20% off. Okay. And, that'll be a big savings for you. And we look forward to seeing it. This is it's cheaper today.
Yeah. And in general, one about this course, this isn't a course that you need, $5,000 to $10,000 to start and take action on. This is also not a course that you have to pay $5,000 to $10,000 to take too. Exactly. Like we try to make everything about this course, with the people in mind who it would be best for,
Yeah, just people that have a few $100s or maybe a few $1,000s that they want to move into a wholesale and private label. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I started this last year, and I've gone from, somebody that was real scared to buy a few cases of grocery that I didn't have, a total knowledge on, to now I'm buying like truckloads of grocery that have my brand on them. And that's kind of a pretty big deal. Steve, I'll give you a 5% discount.
There you go. Help the guy out.
I'll send you a bolo, okay? Steve signed up for it already, so I'm teasing him. But yeah, so it is definitely skill. It is geared towards the people that are successful with wholesale and private label, that are successful with retail arbitrage and wholesale and want to move into retail or wholesale and private label. I'm messing this up. I'm messing my business.
It's a lot of acronyms. It's tough after a while.
It is. We'll just talk entirely in acronyms from now on that I make up on the spot. But yeah, and Charles is involved. We're going to get to hang out at ASD. So also, Charles, we'll have to do an announcement, because we'll have a gathering at ASD. We got a hot tub at our Airbnb.
Yeah.
We got to have a party.
Yeah, we're going to be doing, we don't know what day, so we're going to figure out days and times for you guys. And also, Trista and I had this idea. So for those that don't know, Trista last minute decided she wanted to go so she can hang out by the pool at our cool. Airbnb. So Trista will be there.
Really nice pool at ours.
Yeah. So she's going to be chilling by the pool, the hot tub, all that fun stuff. But we're just going to announce not big meetups, but we're just going to announce where we're eating lunch each day. So if just a few of you want to pop out and have some lunch with us, that would be a blast, just to have like a smaller get together. And then we'll do the official big, like Monday or Tuesday night party, whatever day that we decide on. And we'll do an official post here on YouTube.
And listen, if somebody comes to ASD from Chicago and brings me, I want 2 bottles of Malort. I'll give you my bra training, which is normally like $100 for free.
There you go.
2 bottles of Malort. Okay, you're from Chicago, you know what Malort is.
I feel like I need to know what this is now.
Oh,
bring
Charles.
3 of them. If you're bringing them to him, bring me one.
Okay, bring 3 bottles of Malort, and we're gonna trick Charles into drinking Malort. you ever hear of it'll put hair on your chest?
Oh man,
this'll put hair on your chest, then remove it.
Woo! All right, I'm game. I'll try it.
So,
All right,
yeah,
crew.
I look forward to seeing you guys. Also, don't let Trista dance with anyone, okay?
No, Tristan's not allowed to dance at any events. I don't know if the YouTubers remember. We didn't do much like YouTube shows back then, but we were on our Rockstars cruise, and Trista, it was like 2 a.m. I was down gambling with you guys. I got a text saying, "Hey, get up here." Trista had dislocated her knee in the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship at 2 a.m. dancing. So
And somebody got to pop it back. You didn't get to even pop back.
I didn't even get to see. I know how to do that too. Like my history as a massage therapist as my career, so I know how to pop that stuff back into place. And I was so mad when I got up there. I'm like, oh, it's not off to the side. Dang it.
We taught Charles how to gamble. I'm a pretty big gambler. Brandon's used to work in the casino. We taught Charles the "don't tell Trista how much you lost" method of gambling.
True. I had no cash on me, and Chris is like, "It's okay, just use my cash." I'm like, "You don't want me to do that."
No, he still owes me $100. No, I'm kidding.
Probably. I'll bring you some beers.
Dwayne, here, let me. Here's this, and we'll share this over in Rockstars. And up earlier, somebody had asked, like, if I have a YouTube channel. I do. It's Superhero Sellers.
Yeah, plug your guys' social media, all that good stuff. And for those looking for the link, it will be in the YouTube description below. Again, that code will be active for probably the next day or two for that extra discount, and then it will also be posted up in the groups as well.
Yeah, and that'll be really good. This has been this course has been going really well. This is like the biggest course I've ever put together. So
yeah, it's a lot of content, but it's been really fun for us to make too. I want to say that because just working together, Chris's strong retail arbitrage background and my traditional private label one, just coming together and just seeing how we can combine all those into something that's going to help everyone in between. I've really enjoyed doing it.
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So, yeah, well, thanks so much, Charles, for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, we're gonna see you in like 10 days, man.
Yeah, it's coming up quick. Thanks for your guys' time tonight. Seriously, appreciate it. If you guys got value out of this session, smash the like button. Be sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Check these guys out. Brandon, we don't have you much on social media stuff, do we?
I don't do a whole lot of social media. I jump on Chris's every once in a while. You know, I don't know. I saw on Amazon and hang out.
Totally cool. We'll just get you on here to make up for it. So appreciate you guys taking time. And aside from that, everyone have a fantastic night. Be sure to hop on that deal if you want to get into it. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, crew.
Good night, guys. Bye-bye.